Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tales of Woah. This is episode 4. My breathing is much better this episode. I don't know if you noticed it or not last episode. I actually had to edit out a bunch of breaths. Hopefully that wasn't too annoying. Hopefully you didn't notice it. But you probably did notice some audio cutting out, and that was just because my breathing was so bad. I had to edit it out, and it took so fucking long. It was ridiculous, but my breathing's a bit better this week, which is good. I have to also remember not to breathe out my mouth. I'm fucking being like a mouth breather sometimes on this show, and I breathe through my mouth, and that's not good. It's like I'm a fat person. There. Sorry about that. This fucking thing is annoying, but anyway. Yeah, hopefully my breathing or the edit wasn't too annoying last week. I also did that little vended video that I edited out of the full episode because it was like, it just had nothing to do with video games, and also feel like it was something that probably very few people would want to watch, so I just thought, make that separate. But anyway, this week, we're going to be talking about quitting. If you saw the title of the episode, it doesn't mean I'm quitting. I'm not quitting this, not yet at least. I haven't fucking given up yet. But we're just talking about quitting. I'm a person that tends to quit things a lot. It's pretty bad. I wish I didn't do it as much as I do. But I've just been known to quit a lot of shit throughout my whole life. Podcasts especially, well, not especially, but podcasts I've quit. I've had another podcast I used to do that was called Ugly Kid Tapes that I did a couple years ago, and I kind of just stopped doing that, not for really any reason. I was just, depressed, and I just kind of stopped doing it. Tend to do that a lot. I just kind of stopped doing shit, and I'm not good at that. This podcast is an attempt to kind of do better and at least do something, even if nobody fucking watches this and it's pointless. It's an effort for me to do something, to be somewhat productive, to fucking edit, to have some kind of deadline to do something by, because Jesus Christ. But yeah, I had a podcast called Tales of Woah, or that's what this one's called. Oh, dear God. I had a podcast called Ugly Kid Tapes, and I ended that, and I could have used that name again and just started that back up. But I mean, I'm almost 28. And I didn't feel like having kid, like ugly kid, like, I don't know, calling myself, it's like I am ugly. I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm not a kid anymore. It's just, I find that shit weird when it's like, your name's Lil or Kid and you're like a full grown adult. It's just strange. So I wanted to have a different, name, do something a little bit different. But even previous to that, I had a podcast in like 2013 called Not a Clue that I only did a couple episodes of, because it's also like I'm just by myself for most of these, so it's like you kind of lose. I'm not Bill fucking Burr, so I'm not super talented or I can't I'm just not as good at fucking talking, so it's hard to keep having material or keep having things to talk about or keep being interesting. So I think it's kind of I kind of just get bummed out and stop doing it. But yeah, I did that for a couple episodes, quit. I did do another podcast, or tried to, with a friend, but that kind of I think we tried to do one episode and it just didn't really work, and then we never tried again. We were also kind of whatever. But that just didn't work out. So yeah, that's quitting. I quit a lot of shit. I've been doing it my whole life. Hopefully this is something that a lot of people can relate to. It's not just me. But, even when I was a kid, like, every kind of non-school oriented thing, like any kind of group activity, I pretty much quit everything. The only things I didn't quit, I think, was, like, skateboarding. But I also never gave it my all. It's not like I was going out there trying to be the best. It's like I could barely... The best thing I could ever do is a fucking heel flip, pretty much. I mean, I was better in a mini ramp, because that was what I mostly skated in, what my friend Alec had as kids. So that was mostly what I skated at his house and stuff. So that was kind of more what I was used to, is, doing like axle grinds and fucking, feebles and stuff like that, and tail stalls, and having fun on ramps. So I never did and where I lived too, there was gravel and shit everywhere, so I couldn't really skate. I had like a garage that when it wasn't filled with stuff, there was a bit of space to do like flat ground tricks, but I never enjoyed flat ground tricks that much. But that was something I never gave up. I still do it. I still like doing it, even though now I don't really try new things because I just can get hurt so much easier. So oh, I apologize. That was gross. So I have to be more careful and whatnot nowadays. But yeah, when I was so skateboarding was something I never quit. I've played drums for a while now, but that's another thing that I'm not very good at. Like I don't know if you can see, this is like a cymbal right here. I think it was in the frame of the last video that I didn't notice till I was editing. But this is an electronic drum kit I have here, and I have a acoustic drum kit in the living room too. But yeah, I've been playing drums for a while, but I'm not very good. I've never had lessons or anything. I kind of just played a song. So there are a few metal songs I know and I can play along with, like not super difficult ones though. Like I can play Cloud Connected by In Flames. That's a pretty easy drum song to play. Like there's nothing really that difficult I can play. Wild Eyes I like playing for Parkway Drive, but I can't play that perfectly. It's just fun for me to play, but I can't say I can play that perfectly or anything. This Calling was always fun to play, but I can't play that perfectly. Nothing Left by As I Lay Dying, another fun song to play, but I can't play that perfectly either. So I'm not very good. Those are very difficult songs, but I just like playing it more or less. But for really quitting shit, like I mean, I pretty much those are the only two things I've never actually quit. I never gave them my all either though, but those are two things that I never actually quit. Pretty much everything else in my life. I mean, I've quit. I was in T-ball as a kid, quit that. I was in that my dad put me in cuz he was like a baseball guy when he was younger, and so I think he wanted me to go in it, and boy was he was very just disappointed because I think he wanted, a kid that he could play sports with and go hunting with and stuff. And I was just a sick kid that fucking had asthma, didn't want to do anything, just wanted to play video games, didn't want to go hunting. Just, yeah, bit of a disappointment. But what are you going to do? That's the way the cookie crumbles. But yeah, I did T-ball. I didn't enjoy that. I don't enjoy group oriented sports for the most part because I also suck at things and I don't like letting people down. That's the thing I hate the most, like playing multiplayer video games like online. I can only play shit like I don't like playing on teams really if the rest of the team takes it seriously because it's too much pressure and it's not fun for me. It's like when people start getting upset at me because I suck, that's not fun for me because it's like I can't help how much I suck. Like I'm sorry. So that kind of bums me out. I've never been too into that. But yeah, so group sports or anything like that, I never really enjoyed. So T-ball, I quit that. I barely remember doing it, but I know I did it. I definitely remember doing it. But that I quit. After that, when I was a kid, I loved taekwondo, or not taekwondo, but like karate movies and ninja movies and shit. There was this one movie I cannot remember what it was called, but it had something. It was a dubbed like Japanese or Chinese movie, and it was all these little kids, and it was like 11 ninjas or something. I don't think that's what it was called, but it was something like that. And I watched it over and over. I used to rent it from the from the video store. It was on VHS back in good old VHS days, and I would rent the fuck out of that. And so I really wanted to learn like karate or whatever. And so there was a taekwondo instructor in our town, so I took taekwondo. But that just pissed me off. I quit that pretty quickly too, which I think my parents were bummed out about. That was one thing that was like my parents are or my mom especially is very nice with like, she feels bad for me with all health problems, but it's also kind of a bad thing because she lets me off way too easy for shit that you shouldn't let your kid off with. And I think with that, with Taekwondo especially, they should have maybe made me do it, and like maybe I would have gotten used to it and liked it. But I don't know if it was a good thing to let me quit all the shit I did. But what are you gonna do? It's like I wanted to quit, so they let me quit. But that Taekwondo I didn't like because I thought we were gonna learn how to fuck people up. I thought it was gonna be a bunch of fun, and it wasn't. It was like bullshit dancing. I was like, what is all this bullshit? Like it's so slow and so boring. I was like, I want to fight people. Like, and everything we were learning, it just wasn't fast enough. I just didn't have the. And I realized that's the whole big part of it is like you slowly learn it's not supposed to be about fucking people up, but that's all I wanted to do. And there was actually a fun part that I'll tell because I personally think it was fine and I think I totally deserved it. But I remember when I was getting these Taekwondo lessons, I thought I was some hot shit. I was learning my punches and my kicks or whatever. And so I remember we had company over one time at my house and I was doing. Oh, I apologize. Everything's not bad, but I got something in my throat today. But I was doing my taekwondo kicks and shit. Like we had people over, and I was doing my taekwondo stuff like at my mom, like in her face, like not very far from it, and she kept telling me to stop, and I didn't. And so I just remember she fucking kicked me, and it wasn't like a super hard kick, but we had hardwood floor. I remember she like hit me, or maybe like hit me, or like flung me kind of, but it wasn't like when I say that, I hope it doesn't sound too bad because it sounds worse than it was. It wasn't anything that was like painful, but it was more of like a shove, kind of like she pushed me kind of like across the room. And I just remember sliding across the room and being like, blink, 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 kind of like in a cartoon. Like, there was one time that I was like, I totally deserved that. Like, even at the moment, I think like afterwards, I was like, yeah, I kind of deserved that. Because I was just going up in her face and doing the like ha cha 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 and like fucking kicking and stuff, and there was like company, and I think my mom just asked me to stop. I just didn't, so she fucking rah kicked me, and I just went flying across the room. And then guess what? I did not do that again. I learned my lesson, and it didn't even hurt. It didn't even hurt. But that was another thing that once I kind of realized like, oh, this is a long process, and it's not really fighting. Like even in the sparring thing, it's not as much fighting as I wanted it to be. I just wanted to learn how to, fuck people up and like beat up bullies and stuff. And that did not happen. So I said, fuck that shit. And I quit that. And a couple years later, probably, maybe, no, I was probably like 6. I would say when I did Taekwondo, 5 or 6. So I think I tried to learn guitar at one point. This is before I played drums. And I thought I wanted to learn guitar. Maybe it was just a thing my parents put me into. But I had a guitar teacher actually. I learned I learned Smoke on the Water. I think I learned a couple other things. But I fucking hated guitar. And also I hate it hurts too much like that. I sound like a pussy, but I just fucking don't like it. My hands are already fucking like arthritis out and all fucked up. And so it hurts to play, period. But even without that, I'm just a bitch. And like my fingers, it hurts the strings are too sharp and I don't like it. But I don't know. It never really clicked with me. It never made that much sense. And I was just bad at it. So I fucking hated that. But I did that for a bit. But that was another thing that I just like, I hated. But for that, my parents didn't have to buy me a guitar. I think they ended up getting like an amp, but we had a guitar, a previous guitar from my mom's grandpa, or my mom's dad had a guitar from when he was younger, or when he was, I don't know, adult. He had a guitar, and he gave it to my mom, and then my mom gave it to me, and then I didn't play guitar, so she kept it, and then now it's at my uncle's house actually, and oh, there is a horrible story too. When I was still drinking, I went over to my uncle and auntie's house, and I tried to stop drinking at this point, they had so much booze there, and I just couldn't help myself that I started drinking again that night. And then I drank the whole night and was up in the morning. And I remember I was just sitting in their office and I was like playing that guitar, and I'm sure my aunt was just like, "Oh my god, this dude's drunk as fuck." Playing with like my mom and my uncle's dad's guitars. I'm sure she was just horrified, like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna break it or break a string or something." And I was just trying to be cool, like thinking nobody noticed, and I was clearly just like wasted. And oh, not good. I think I ended up stealing booze from them too, which is very, very embarrassing. Me drink. That is why I do not drink anymore. Because me drinking is like another horrible person comes out, and it's very embarrassing, and I'm not aware of myself at all. It's just, oh, not good. That's another thing I did quit is drinking, but that was actually a good thing. One of the few times I quit something that was a good thing. Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I've been doing good. I have a little bit over a year now with quitting drinking, so that's pretty good. I just quit smoking at the start of October, so I'm doing pretty good with that so far. I haven't had a cigarette since then. I'm still smoking weed, but I need to transition off of smoking weed and just vape. I would eat edibles, but the edibles here are so fucking expensive, and my tolerance is so high. But for quitting, all right, we're talking about quitting. Um, Another thing that I quit a lot is like relationships. That's another thing I'm terrible with. Is in relationships that I don't know. I'm not good with dating people. I noticed like I'm alone so much, and I've been alone. Like I was a only child, and I grew up in a hamlet where there were no kids around until I was like in the eighth grade, and my one friend moved there. But I've been alone so much, and I've like dated girls and stuff, but not for very long. The last girl I dated like a year ago, or maybe I guess it's like a couple of years ago now. I dated her for 6 months, and that was the longest I've ever dated anybody, and that was like tough for me because I'm just not good at like having somebody there, and then also just shit with like all my surgeries and stuff and my body, and I just feel disgusting all the time because it's like I mean, there's just a lot of parts of me that look fucked up. So it's like, even if a girl likes me if for all of this, even if she can somehow fucking blind herself and get through all of that, I still have so much. I just feel so, and it's not even feeling bad about myself. It's like I'm genuinely aware how gross some stuff is. Like there's, like we don't need to get into it, but there's this gross things. Like there's discharges that come out of places sometimes and just not good. Just grossness that nobody should have to deal with except me because it's my own shit. So that's one thing I struggle with a lot is like not even like getting a girl is one thing, but that's not even that's one part of the battle. But once I have them, it's like it's so difficult for me to like let them in or like feel comfortable around them. And that's another thing I do is I quit things a lot. And I think one thing that I kind of do is like I don't like breaking up with girls, so I think I kind of let stuff get not bad enough, but like to where like with my last girl I was dating, we like one of the things was like because of all my surgery and stuff, and it does have to do with pain too. Like sometimes I'm just in a lot of pain due to certain things, and it's like I don't want to. Like there's a thing. Maybe it is like a girly thing a little bit. So I do think I'm a yeah. I was gonna say I think yeah. I don't need to get into that, but but I do think it is a little bit of like a girly kind of thing where it's like I'm too I don't know, I guess connected to my body where it's like I feel too gross and then I just don't want to have sex and I don't want to be touched because I feel so bad about myself and then that like affects the relationship and then like you've been dating for a while and realize you haven't really had sex very much and it's like and that shit just affects it too and it's like and so with that stuff it's like I'll just let it ride until the person is like I need a change and then I'll let them break up with me and it's like yeah, it's not good. I just can't. It's difficult, really difficult for me to really do something and cling to something for a while. I think the longest thing I've done that was like a job I had was like I worked at a hotel for like 3 years, and that was a terrible job. That was an episode we're gonna have to definitely get into one of these episodes. But working in at a hotel is working at a hotel normally is probably shitty, but like working at a hotel overnight when you're alone is really awful. And that I did for fucking 3 years, and I have no idea how I did that. But that's like the longest I've actually committed to anything. It's fucking like 3 years. I can't commit to people, can't commit to doing things, and that's really kind of what this podcast is for me fucking committing to goddamn doing something for once in my goddamn life. Okay, sorry about that. I quit. I ended up going off on a little tangent that just got boring and hold on, like chair a bit more there. Yeah, but I went on a little tangent that got a little bit boring, so I cut. I went and got a nice Monster Energy drink, like the douchebag I am, and yeah, here we fucking go. But yeah, quitting. I mean, quitting just. I don't know if it's everybody else, but just talking. This is another reason I like talking about shit, because it's like I don't have a therapist. I don't have money for a good one, and the bad ones I've had are just not good. Give you like a sheet to like fill out, and it's like, oh, that's your good fucking anyway. But yeah, what I'm noticing is I really do quit on a lot of shit in my life. Like I said, the girls I've dated is like, I mean, yeah, I have a problem with like getting. I want I want a girlfriend, but then when I have a girlfriend, I don't enjoy it as much. It's like I like my alone time so much, and I'm so used to being alone. That's what I was saying. Maybe I'll cut back to when I was talking about that. But yeah, I've always been an alone child, right? I grew up alone for most of the time. So now when I date somebody, it's like so difficult to have somebody around a lot. Like that was one thing my girlfriend, my last girlfriend, when she would work because she was living with her grandparents at the time, and they lived out of town and I lived in town. So when she would work, often she would like stay over at my house, and she would be staying over like a few times a week. And it was there was a certain point where it was like she was there a lot, and it was like so much for me. Like I would have to like me I would just need my own space. Where it was like she went to bed at like a certain time, I would like go to bed with her, but then I would just get up and like have to be awake all night, and just like, oh, I just need my own space so much. And that's like really hard for a relationship, because you need to I mean, you need to be there. You need to want to be touched. You need to want to be, like involved in the fucking relationship. And that's just one thing that is so fucking difficult for me. And I think it's also a thing too that I'll date somebody I like as a person, but I won't be as much like, you know what I mean? It's like I'll really like them as a person, but I don't want to say not attracted to them, but it's like because it doesn't really matter what they look like as much as there's not that feeling with it. And it's like it's hard because I have such a bad self image or whatever, that when I date somebody, just the fact that somebody likes me is like enough for me to date them most of the time. And that's usually terrible, because I've dated a lot of uh uh what's a good way to put this? Because I don't want to sound like I'm gaslighting people or sound like I'm being whatever. But I mean crazy. I've dated a bunch of crazy bitches. Trying not to say that because it sounds rude and it sounds dismissive. Of course, not every single one was crazy, but I mean, there have been a couple that I dated that were like legitimately like fucking bonkers, and it's like, and there are signs, and I just like ignore the signs because it's like, oh, this person likes me, and it's like you can't. Yeah, I'm just bad at that, and so it's like, and I don't go out to like meet people either. It's like that's one thing too. Was like for everything that I give all the shit I give myself about my looks and stuff, I wouldn't say I'm good at meeting girls or anything like that. Like, not, no, I'm not trying to say that at all. Because I'm not a super sociable person. But I would say I'm better, like, I'd say meeting people in real life. I would say people tend to like me more when they meet me, other than like being online. I've met girls where it's like we met online, or like we only talked on the phone or texted, and I've met them and they've been like not stoked about how I look. And there's actually there's so many fucking ex fucking chick stories that I can get into. I don't know what this turned into a girlfriend episode, and it really. How did they even get here? I was talking about girls and how I quit relationships, and then I started talking about I don't like myself, so I date these crazy people, and then yeah, we're gonna have to get into that in a whole another episode, because there is like just I'm not gonna get into it right now, but just as a little as moves bouche or whatever the fuck, and I do speak French, but I don't remember how to say that. Possibly I know bouche is mouth, but a little taste. I know it means a little taste, whatever the fuck. But I'll give you a little taste of but like when I say crazy, I don't mean like I'm just saying that like, oh, she was a bit nutty. She got mad at me when I cheated on her and she reacted poorly. It's like, no, nothing like that. I've never been a dude who's cheated on anybody. I've never done anything like that. But there was one girl that did try to jump off of a bridge when I broke up with her. It was a true story, and we'll get into that in an all girlfriends episode of why Tyler can't find love. But yeah, so those are the type of girls that I attract. Girls with daddy problems who aren't necessarily all that great in the head, and maybe don't have the best self image of themselves. So they see, somebody, and for whatever reason I'm nice, and yeah, it's not good. But that was yeah, we'll have to get into that. But like I was trying to see at what at some point. I'm sorry, I'm going everywhere this episode. It's very bad. I apologize. But another thing I was trying to say was that even with my bad looks, if I meet somebody in person, I'm way more likely for them to like me and stuff. Like when I'm in the hospital, there's so many young nurses that, of course, they're supposed to be nice to you and stuff, but they can. You have some people that go in and they'll just do their thing or whatever and leave. But there are a lot that I like become friends with and like pretty close, and we'll chat and they'll go buy me things. Like they've bought me food from downstairs and they've brought me gifts and stuff. And it's super awesome and super nice. But there are things like that when I go out, and even when I used to go out, it's like I'm not the best looking dude, but I do have some semblance of charisma at some point. Even if this podcast isn't a very good example of that. But so that's not super bad. But the problem with like having like even getting a girlfriend is I don't know what I would do if when I get a girlfriend. That's like the whole thing, right? Is that the whole thing that like Joker says with Batman is like I don't know, or he like has some kind of metaphor that's it's like something that it's like I don't know what I would do if I actually caught it. It's like very much like me, like that with me with girls. It's like I never know what to do when I actually have a girlfriend. It's like all the things you're supposed to want to do is like half the time I'm like eh. But I think it's also things like being hung up on other people too. I've had problems in the past where I've just been hung up on like certain people from my past that I just can't get over for whatever reason, and so it's like every other person, even if you try to, it's just not the same. I just haven't found that one person. But I mean, I don't. At this point, I'm kind of accepting that I won't, and it's not like it's like you're 28. It's like I'm 28 going on fucking like 70. Let's be honest. So I can't imagine unless I really get my shit back together and Like, am not so disgusting that I feel okay to even try to date somebody. Maybe I'll meet somebody at that point, but that's even saying, okay, I'm ready to date. Doesn't mean anybody's gonna want to date me. So that's a thing that I'm like, that's not even on my mind anymore. Which I don't know if it's probably a bad thing. But I mean, right now, just with COVID and everything too, it's like that can just wait. I'm not fucking. I've never been since I've had sex. I think the first time since I lost my virginity, I think I haven't really been that caring about having sex. It's like there was a certain point with like dating certain girls or whatever where it's like I think I achieved what I was trying to achieve, like making a girl come for the first time, like making her actually come, where it's like it that she actually did and she's not like faking it or whatever. It's like that was like such a moment and like my ego, like, you know what I mean. That was like such a notch in my belt that like after that I didn't really care about stuff anymore. It wasn't even like doing like half the time with me with like girls. It's not even like doing the act. It's just like getting the girl, and it's like okay, I know that I'm good enough. Not that I actually want to date a girl, so that's weird. Maybe I'm just finding out I'm just totally gay. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? I mean, I am a little bit gay. That doesn't really have to do with this. Is that's a whole nother episode that won't be coming out because yeah, it just doesn't need to be a thing on the internet. They talk about me and, not being the straightest when my dad has access to the internet. That just doesn't need to be. He can not know these things. That's a thing. A lot of people nowadays they feel the need to tell everybody everything, and it's like you can keep some stuff to yourself. You don't need to go out and tell everybody your fucking innermost fucking wants and needs and proclivities and fucking people are a little bit too open about that stuff nowadays, and I'm guilty of it too. Don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of talking. This whole fucking podcast is that to a certain extent, if I'm honest. But yeah, there's some things that are just like unless you really need to, like be yourself, and that's like a part of your thing is like you need to be open with stuff. It's like then that's a different thing, and you go be open and you do what you need to do. For me, I'm just like yeah, I'll quietly do the things I want to do and think the things I want to think, behind the scenes, because nobody needs to hear that shit. But quitting, oh my god, I really went on a. Oh, I think I just had white stuff in the side of my mouth like Doug fucking Bell. Dear God. That's a thing, I gotta be honest. I love Jim Norton so much. Chip Chipperson, I mean, I love the Chip Chipperson show. I get a bit bored of it sometimes, to be honest. Depends on the guests and everything. But Doug Bell, I just can't stand Doug Bell. And it's like, I get the joke and it is funny. The funny part is that it's so fucking inane and dumb, but it's so inane. He does it so well. He's so good at being inane and fucking pointless and stupid that I just don't want to fucking watch it, and I just can't stand it. Like the only thing Doug Bell is good for putting on is if you're trying to go to sleep. I cannot stand Doug Bell, and I think it's funny that Gavin McGinnis is like saying that he hates Chip Chipperson, but he loves Doug Bell. And that's like for me, it's a complete opposite. Chip Chipperson, I find at least funny, and all his bad jokes I at least like because of his disgusting ego, his huge disgusting ego that he has. But Doug Bell is just kind of a nice guy that's just not unaware, and it's just sad. It's like it's just sad and depressing to me. And fucking, there's probably people watching this that are like, "What the fuck are you talking about, Tyler?" Check out, yeah, check out Chip Chipperson. I'm sure if you're not aware of Chip Chipperson and you just check him out, oh yeah, you'll probably like it. I'm sure. I'm sure you'll completely understand it. You'll just think I'm retarded. It's like you like this, but quitting, yeah. I mean, it's tough, man. Tell me in the comments what kind of shit you guys quit. Like, I know there's so many more things too. I guess on stage, rapping on stage, I quit doing that because I just failed over and over. That's gonna have to be another episode where I just talk about my live performance failings. But that was just just so much embarrassment. And that's like, if you have balls, you could keep going up and doing it. But I think I also knew I wasn't good enough, and like, yeah, I mean, I can make excuses. There's so many excuses. That's what all these things are, is quitting, is you can just make excuses. Like, it's hard for me to not quit doing this every week because the thought comes in my head like, well, what's this for? Who's even watching this? And those are all fair. And that's the hard part about it. Is it's like, it's not like those aren't fair points. But I do like doing this. When I actually do it, I like doing this. I think it helps me somewhat, even if I'm not the best at it. It's like I'm trying to get better, trying to be a better talker. This is genuinely what I like to do. Um, so yeah, I mean, some people, I was gonna say some people watch it. A couple people watch it, and for what reason, I have no idea. And thank goodness to the couple of you that do watch this, because I can't imagine how hard it would be. It's like, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's trying to walk. It's probably like trying to walk through mud, just deep mud with rain boots, and it's just, and that's the sound, the mouth sounds I make too is probably that, but just difficult to get through. For some reason, you're trying, because you're just wonderful. I guess I do very much appreciate everybody who watches. I think like the two people that watch this, but yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get better. I'm just trying to figure shit out, and trying to think of better, bigger things to do. I mean, I'd like to get better at. I want to try to watch videos and do something to learn how to better edit and do stuff that's more interactive with this, so it's not just, one still shot of me talking. Oh yeah, also Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I just put that on. I just thought I'll do that for the episodes, have something interesting at least in the background going. But yeah, quitting. Try not to quit this. It's a horrible habit. It's a horrible habit I have. It's a horrible habit I think a lot of people have. And that's one thing, is like, you keep hearing, is like all the podcasts and stuff I listen to. It's like say what you want about like most comedians and stuff like that, but there is like they do get up and do shit, and like actually do shit, and it's like that's just so difficult. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I can always make excuses for like my fucking me being sick and all this shit, and like being tired because of it. I can always make excuses, but it's like you can still do shit. Like, that's the thing too. If you have a sick kid, I mean, you should make them do shit a little bit. It's like, of course, like within reason and stuff, but that is like a thing where you can baby people too much, and it's not good. And I think no matter what, if you are like a sick kid to a certain extent, you do have to like, there's shit you have to get through by yourself. Your parents can't always be there with you in the hospital, especially as you get older and stuff. Like, you're just gonna be alone. Um, if you don't have like a girl, and even that, people can't be there for you all the time. You have to be alone. You have to go through surgeries alone. You have to do a lot of shit alone. So I think that really affects you. But no, I just completely forgot where I was going with all of this. How did I get to? Dear God, I apologize. I got this Monster Energy, so it would fucking energize me a bit. For fuck's sakes. And now I don't even know where I was going with all of this. Other than, yeah. Oh, I apologize. This is probably a bad episode. I say that for every episode. Like, oh, this is probably a bad episode. But I'm working through stuff. God damn it. But yeah, quitting. Just trying to think if I have anything else for quitting. I have notes here, but I only. Yeah, I didn't write a whole lot. My guitar teacher died. That was one thing, too, that I didn't mention. Because I had a guitar teacher, and then I think that was, I don't know if that was why I quit. I think that might have been why I quit. No, I think I probably quit guitar before that. But yeah, he had a heart attack, and I think he was found dead in a ditch. So that's wonderful. Randy, I think it was. Poor Randy. He was a nice guy. Shout out to Randy into this end of this episode. I'm sorry I quit guitar. I apologize. I'm sure he was a nice guy though. We had one of my friends that had Down syndrome. He taught him too, and I think my friend with Down syndrome is actually a lot better at guitar than I am. He actually stuck with it and actually likes guitar and music. So yeah. He also, my friend with Down syndrome actually went to college. He has a girlfriend that he's been with for a while. He's worked at like a radio station for a while. I don't know if he's still there at somewhere else now. But yeah, my friend with Down syndrome's got so much further than me in life. And it's like, I'm a little bit jealous. But good for him, because, I mean, you don't hear that many kids with Down syndrome actually, doing shit, actually going to college and stuff. So that was pretty awesome. And I mean, he's had a girlfriend for a while now. I think probably like 5 years or something. It's fucking nuts. It's been a while. It's been a few years at least. So I mean, shout out to Ryan McIntyre. You're doing fucking great, buddy. I don't think you're watching this, but shout out to you. But yeah, anyway, hopefully this wasn't. I know I went kind of everywhere and just ended up finding out that yeah, maybe I'm gay. I guess. I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm gay. I think I have gay tendencies. I think you know what? This isn't. Maybe we'll have a no. Well, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say maybe there'll be some secret episode I do, and it's just like no. Is there something yet? No. That this doesn't need to be. Dear dear God. Anywho, asexual? No, I'm not asexual either, because I jerk off to things. But that's the thing is it's not just girls. So then it's like then it gets all weird with all the LGBT things, and it's like there's so many letters, and I don't know if I feel like I'm in a group with all those letters. I don't know if I agree with all those letters. I don't want to put myself in the running with all those letters just because I think it's a weird tag that I don't necessarily want to be associated with. Just because it's like I'm just a person with just you know I think they said it. I think they said it the best on Reno 911. That's you know what you can you can dream about being a race car driver, but you're not actually a race car driver until you drive a goddamn race car. And I'll just put it there, and that's where we can have it set. All right, thanks again, everybody, for watching this fucking ridiculous episode. That I don't know if you got anything out of it. I don't know if I did. This is like just therapy sessions for me at this point. But goodbye, everybody. Au revoir. Couldn't talk. I forget every week to think of more ways to say goodbye. But like the Jizza said, konnichiwa, bitches. See you next week. Oh, it's so gay.